Hello, Shabri. Before anybody else came, I just wanted to say I've heard things about just the work that you've done on procurement lately. So thank you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Are we just waiting for a quorum, Commissioner Esposito? Committee Chair Esposito?
Yes, yeah, it looks like we got two other folks from our committee on. I believe one is gonna be absent. I'll give it till 4:05 for Commissioner Rooks.
Commissioner Esposito, if you'd like to, you can go ahead and get started. I've reached out to Commissioner Brooks.
Oh, thank you.
Sure.
So good afternoon, everyone. This is Committee Chair Ashley Esposito. I would like to call to order the May 20th Policy Committee meeting. If you have not done so, please silence your phones. Anyone who does not mute their phone may be muted by the call moderator and removed from the call. Additionally, please turn off your video if you are not a board member, the CEO, or her staff. So I will now read a roll call of the board members to identify who's present. Please identify yourself first before speaking on the record. Chair Sally. Commissioner Ames Messenger.
Messenger present.
Thank you. Good to see you. Commissioner Redding Lallinger.
Commissioner Redding Lallinger present.
Awesome. Commissioner Brooks. And I am present. So today we are going to be discussing policy. The first thing on our agenda is going to be policy KIA, and then we have an incident report EBB-RA, JIH-RA procedures for student administrative searches and seizures, and then a compliance report. So do we have someone here to present for policy KIA, visitors to schools tier 2?
Yes, good afternoon, Commissioner
Good
Esposito.
afternoon.
My name is, how you doing?
Good. Nice to see you.
Good to hear. My name is Sabri Barnes. I am the Director of Student and School Operations Support here on behalf of the Chief of Schools Office to present in partnership with my colleague Sinead Times from FMO, and we will be bringing updates to board policy KIA visitors to the schools. The revisions to KIA are aligned with board strategic priorities 3, 4, and 5. Next slide, please. And the reason why we are revising board policy KIA is because KIA has not been updated since 2015. But in April 2024, there were updates made to the school building entry management protocols for students and visitors. So the revisions that we are sharing today will actually lift the alignment between the protocol and the actual policy. Some of the key features of board policy KIA are screening procedures for special categories of visitors, as well as guidelines for restrictions and exclusions and procedures for visits. So big picture, we really want to underscore the alignment with the board policy and the entry management protocols. The major goals of the proposed revisions are to outline information and expectations for the weapons detection systems, provide clarity for classroom visits, address concerns about animals, and ensure alignment with EBB and JIH. Here are some of the proposed revisions. Section 2 of the policy is dedicated to definitions, and you will find that the addition of a definition for school days, as well as revised definitions for parent, guardians, consultant. There's also a section that highlights the implementation strategies for the building entry management protocols. The purpose of the visitors policy, these items that have been incorporated into the revised, purpose section. The board's commitment to safety and the well-being of stakeholders, a multi-layered approach to school safety that is aligned with best practices, and procedures that promote a safe and effective learning environment.
Thank you, Sabri. So the next slide, as Sabri already said, the purpose of this slide is to connect the proposed policy revisions to the district's updated school building entry management protocols that we introduced back in 2024. And this is what lays the foundation and how we handle the weapons detection systems in our high schools. The protocols were established system-wide for high schools on how to manage how people are entering the buildings and how families and or visitors are also coming into the building. And the system is a key part of our layered strategy for safety in our schools and aligns with our board policy. Yep, thank you. Next slide is how we are proposing for this information to be proposed for visitors. Under the revised policy, all visitors to high school buildings are required to pass through the weapons detection system at the designated entry points. And this should already be happening at schools given the current protocols, but this just puts it in our policy. If a visitor triggers the system, whether it be a binder, laptop, or something more serious, they would have to consent to a search or they would be denied entry into the building. And this is aligned with our administrative regulation, JIH RA search and seizure policy. And we're just updating it to add that information into the policy.
All right, thank you, Shanae. Right here, you'll find information about the district automated visitor entry system, which is used to vet visitors and also flag sex offenders who may attempt to enter the building. The use of the system is mandated and outlined in KIA-RA Visitors to the Schools. And currently, Access 411 is the district automated visitor entry provider for traditional schools, while charter schools can utilize alternatives. Next slide, please. Visitors are expected to wear their badges at all times. The policy revisions outline next steps for when parents or guardians are without their ID, and what school staff should do if they observe a visitor without a badge or if they observe the visitor entering an unauthorized space. Here you'll find special categories of visitors, really outlining the expectation for visiting city schools employees who may, for example, people who are assigned to central office, but you may go out to visit a school. Clarifying that registered sex offenders are prohibited without special permission in accordance with KIB, align procedures for volunteers, and procedures for when a law enforcement agency or government agency arrives at a school. Next slide, please. The revised policy provides specifics for animals on school grounds and animals in the classroom. Students, employees, and visitors are not permitted to bring a pet or other animal into a city school building or office or elsewhere on the grounds, except for service animals as described in Board Policy ACE, service animals, and the accompanying administrative regulation. Animals are not permitted on school grounds 1 hour before through 1 hour past school hours. The animal must be on a leash or a similar restraining device. All waste must be removed by the owner, and animals who are a part of an educational or student wholeness activity, those types of situations need permission from the principal and or designee. Next slide, please. This section emphasizes that the potential consequences for a visitor who disrupts school operations and the procedures for recording a restriction or exclusion in the incident reporting workflow. Next slide, please. A parent guardian's consultant, and I just want to kind of underscore this definition. A parent or guardian's consultant is any person who is authorized by the parent or guardian to observe the child in their educational setting for the purposes of making educational recommendations. So this includes private therapists such as psychologists, psychiatrists, counselors, or social workers who are hired, contracted, or authorized by the parent or guardian to work with students at a school during the day. While this person may be approved by the parent or guardian, the school still has the discretion to approve the request for classroom observation. And approvals are based on several factors, such as frequency and timing. Those are two examples. And in addition, the consultant is prohibited from recording unless they receive prior approval from both the principal and the Office of Legal Counsel. Next slide, please. Additional guidelines for school visits and observations. There are procedures for visits and observations by a parent or guardian of a current and prospective student, as well as children who are not enrolled in the school. The recording of IEP and Section 504 meetings, as well as guidance for visitors made by public officials, international delegations, other educational institutions, and other community entities. Next slide, please. Because this is a Tier 2 policy, we will be soliciting feedback from stakeholder groups, and we have some listed. City Schools Equity Advisory Committee, Charter and Operator-Led School Advisory Board, PCAB, ASBC, CCAC, school operators, and labor unions. Next slide, please. And here is a timeline. You can see today is May the 20th. We are before you all here at this policy committee meeting, followed by first reader in July and a second reader in September. Next slide, please. Thank you all so much for your attention, and I yield the floor back to Commissioner Esposito.
Thank you. Yes, I'll open it up for questions.
I just have one quick question. Thank you for the presentation. And this is really just because this has happened to me on a school visit. What is a policy? What are you supposed to do? What is the school supposed to do if the system to check a visitor's ID is down? What is the appropriate policy? And then can you give me a sense for how often that happens?
So when the system is down, the first thing that the school should do would be to alert the vendor. Access 411. School leaders have direct access to the vendor just for the timeliness of responses. Usually, sometimes it's something they can fix remotely. If it's a hardware issue, such as like the printer can't print badges, they're very diligent with coming out and making repairs. If there's an extremely extenuating circumstance, then the school knows to notify the school support manager for additional support.
So, is the school support manager able to, I guess what I was thinking about was a situation where the system appeared to be down and, I was there for a visit. I probably wasn't going to wait an hour, 2 hours to be able to get into the school, which is maybe how long it would take to get the situation rectified. What is the support manager able to like remotely check an ID? Or I guess I'm just trying to figure out what's a reasonable thing for a school to be able to do to be able to let a visitor who they don't really have any, reason to.
So the first thing that the school could do is kind of limit access, because even if you come to visit a school, the system is down, and the secretary takes your driver's license and signs you in a book, that's still not going to make us aware if you are a sex offender or not. That is why, like, the quick turnaround to repair, whether the system is down for a hardware issue or a software issue, is critical. So again, we could, the school can take your driver's license and they can sign you in. They can give you, a temporary badge. They can alert support staff that you are in the building. They can have someone escort you to your desired destination. But if the system is down, that leaves us in a blind spot as far as like the sex offender registry, even if we see your
Right.
driver's license.
So I just want to intervene to support Sabri's process. So when one portion of it is that when we do call into Access 411, if it is just an issue that is isolated to that school, we are able to feed them the information for them at the company to use the system, read the ID information, and complete the verification. If there's a massive event and this happens, then we would have to redirect it, and we would not likely be able to do a manual entry for that, and we would probably have to figure out an alternative or a reschedule of the program. But if it's 1 or 2 people and we know that it's an isolated technical thing that's not maybe it's connected to the Wi-Fi or something like that, we are able to have Access 411 complete that verification for us. And then we would, like Sabri said, do the remainder of it manually so that we can have that record on site with the school that this person did enter our building.
Kind of building.
Yep, go ahead.
Sorry, thank you, Ash. I guess building on that, and in terms of procedurally, this is with policy catching up with procedure. Who is trained at the school level on X? So, like, in the event that downtime, like that would be a decision tree we would want frontline staff to be able to respond to. What was kind of the training uptake on that, and then what's kind of the quality assurance other than people popping into buildings? Sorry, that was unclear. Who was trained in terms of administrating entrance procedures for visitors, and then kind of what's the mechanism for ensuring that those procedures are being followed?
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you. So all of the front office staff are trained. So what we did was we offered training over the summer. We also offered a refresher training this fall that just passed. And we really leave like an open invitation because the staffing configurations in all of our buildings are so unique. Like you may have a traditional setting where you walk through the front door and you're right at the main office. The main office is staffed with office assistants and secretaries. That would be our first line of training. But let's say you have a school where you enter the building and the main office, you may have to go up a flight of steps and then go around 10 corners. So you will find those types of situations where a school may have a support staff person to man the door or to direct people to the main office area. We open up our training to make the training and information available to those people as well. So we open our training up to both city schools, employees, and our contractors, because we don't want schools to feel limited as to who they can send. We do the trainings on Teams. We also ensure that they all get a copy of the protocol. And then 2 of our quality control measures is the first one is that the vendor sends us reports periodically for the number of scans. And with the number of scans, you can see, like, first of all, you can see who's using the machine and who's not using the machine. Then you could really drill down and ask, why are you not using the machine? Get it from out the corner. This is mandated. Okay. And then the second piece is that people in the school's office, we are in and out of schools all the time. So you can just walk in, and while the school may be familiar, with you, you can observe how the practices and policies are being implemented. Well, the protocol, I'm sorry, is being implemented.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Anyone? And no questions for me.
Thank you so much.
And next we have EBBB-RA incident reporting.
Commissioners, can everyone see the report okay?
Yes.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is John Turner. I'm the manager of special projects in the school's office, and I'm here today to share the updates to administrative regulations, EBBB-RA, incident reporting, including student and employee injuries. Before we dive into the specific changes, it is important to note that no new tasks or operations for schools are being added through these revisions. Instead, we are just simply changing the process for reporting in many instances. The school's office, in collaboration with the operations, human capital, and legal offices, are further reinforcing and streamlining current protocols and practices. These revisions clarify the process that principals and supervisors must follow for reportable incidents. Additionally, the primary goals of the revisions are to align with the internal protocols, recent revisions to policies, the changes to the administrative regulations, JHRA, which you'll hear more about a little bit later, and recent updates made to the City Schools Employee Handbook. Additionally, we want to provide City School employees with further clarity on the types of emergencies that need to be reported in alignment with the current internal protocols. Understanding that there were some challenges with the previous reporting process, we wanted to streamline the incident reporting for principals and supervisors by establishing the incident reporting workflow, which will be a secure platform that automatically notifies relevant offices for appropriate follow-up. We also wanted to clarify the key categories of other incidents and emergencies that need to be reported on, while also providing some helpful examples. In fact, in the administrative regulation, it was restructured to list the categories and types of emergencies first, so that these were at the forefront of the regulation. Additionally, we want to provide more clarity for employees who experience personal property damage, including liability matters in the reimbursement process that is aligned with the updates in the employee handbook. We're now going to look at the specific regulatory revisions. Starting first in Section 3, it was removed to make the new Section 1 that now lists the 6 different categories of incidents and the types of emergencies to be reported. Section 1B provides the details about the 4 additional incident reporting categories that include external law enforcement and medical assistance agencies, administrative searches and seizures, investigations of suspected criminal gang activity, restricting or excluding access to schools. Moving further down, Section 1D was added to clarify when a principal or supervisor should report a behavioral threat assessment as referenced in Board Policy JLJ. Section 1F, get caught up here. Section 1F was revised to include a verification step within the process to ensure that information submitted through the incident reporting workflow is complete and accurate. Section 2 was revised to remove the old student accident report form, and now it directs principals and supervisors to report these on the incident reporting workflow. Section 2A3 was revised to clarify that principals and supervisors should submit work orders through the Computerized Maintenance Management System, CMMS, and must notify the Director of Building, Maintenance, and Inspections immediately if an injury occurred to unsafe conditions on school grounds. Section 3 was revised to direct principals and supervisors to report on the incident reporting workflow when an employee injury requires emergency medical care and 911 was called, which again aligns to updates in the employee's handbook. And finally, Section 5 was added to also align with updates from the employee handbook and clarify the process to file claims for work-related personal property damage, as well as personal vehicle damage that may have been caused by a city school's vehicle. And that is all for EBBRA. Are there any questions?
Oh, can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know. I'm having a problem with my audio, but I'll open it up for questions and rejoin.
None for me. Thanks, Jonathan. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, Commissioner.
The same, none on this end either. Thank you so much, Jonathan.
You're welcome.
Okay. Be back. Okay. Do you have any questions, Commissioner Messenger? Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you for presenting.
All right, you're welcome. Is it all right to get started with JIHRA?
Yep.
All right, thank you. Back again. Now we're going to talk through the administrative updates for the regulations, JIHRA, student administrative searches, and seizures. The proposed revisions that you are about to hear were a collaborative effort between the school's operations and legal offices. Again, it's important to know that the proposed revisions are intended to further emphasize and clarify current protocols, policies, and practices that are already in place. No new action are being proposed here for schools and staff to follow. With that said, the goal behind these revisions is to align with the changes to EBBRA, which you just heard a moment ago, clarify that weapons detection systems can be used in middle schools serving students in grades 6 through 12, and align more closely to the school building entry management protocol for students and visitors. The purpose of the regulations behind JIHRA is to provide uniform and equitable procedures for the administrative searches of students and their property. It also aims to ensure a thorough and more efficient review of these practices. The proposed revisions will streamline the documentation and reporting of administrative searches and seizures through the incident reporting workflow, which will eliminate the need for a separate form. As part of a multifaceted approach to school safety, City Schools uses metal detectors and other weapons detection systems at certain schools. Previously, the use of metal detectors and other weapons detection systems was only permitted in high schools, but with these revisions will now permit the use of metal detectors and other weapons detection systems in a middle high school serving grades 6 through 12. Taking a look at the challenges, before these revisions, schools had to submit and send a search and seizure report form to the school's office. These revisions will now require the school principal or designee to electronically document the administrative search or seizure through the new online incident reporting workflow. This shift will require the school's office to train school leaders on how to use the incident reporting workflow. Training on the workflow will occur alongside other planned training by the schools and operations teams with schools on how to accurately use the weapons detection system. Additionally, providing school leaders of middle high schools the ability to send students through a weapons detection system will require additional training for their school staff on how to use the new equipment and be compliant with the reporting procedures. Taking a closer look at the regulatory revisions, first in Section 2C, specific language was added from the policy that emphasizes that staff are prohibited from engaging in strip searches, pat-downs, or direct contact with the student's body. If it is believed that a strip search or pat-down is necessary, school police must be contacted. Next, in Section 2F, language was revised to clarify that the use of metal detectors or weapons detection systems is permitted for middle school students in schools serving grades 6 through 12. And as we walk through, you can see the specific changes that have been made in the italics. Third, we have a special carve-out that requires any firearm discovered from an administrative search, regardless of whether the search was initiated through the use of a weapons detection system or administrative search from an authorized searcher, to be reported through the incident reporting workflow. We also want to call out that these revisions remind schools that blanket searches and seizures of students or their property is not permitted. Instead, schools are again directed to follow the school building entry management protocol, which instructs schools to have students pass through an entrance with a weapons detection system and recommends a secondary screening for any alerts that might provide reasonable belief to conduct an administrative search prior to actually carrying out the search. Finally, these proposed changes clarify that searches and/or seizures need to be reported within the incident reporting workflow by the principal or their designee within 48 hours of the search and seizure. And that is it for JIHRA. Are there any questions? Commissioner Sally?
Yep. So one that I know has been a conversation in the past has been about just the opportunities for school communities that serve lower grades where they may know there are some additional safety protocols that are necessary. Can you talk to me a little bit about just what has been the opportunity, at the staff level to explore the applicability of different safety protocols that may help out a particular set of school communities?
Yeah, thanks for that,
Not
Commissioner.
covered by this policy currently. Yep.
Well,
Go ahead.
yeah, and that's that's a very good question. I know that there are conversations that have started, and I know some of it is looking at data regarding searches and seizures, and certainly school safety related data to determine what that as Sabri had mentioned earlier in KIA, that there is, a multifaceted approach to school safety. So I know that those conversations and some of that data is being looked at, but I would have to get back to you with some of the more specifics.
Yeah, thank you. That'd be helpful to follow up on that. I know that there, as we engage with school communities that may not be covered by the policy, there are school leaders, there are staff, there are parents and other community members who feel that there are particular communities that could benefit. And there may be an opportunity to look at some flexibilities if the data warrants it.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Thank you.
And Commissioner Sally, I just wanted to add, I think that part of the push here for these revisions is to expand to the 6 through 12 schools and hearing that feedback. So, but we want to also do that in a strategic way, if that makes sense.
It does, yeah, it does. And I'll say, and when I look at the data, I'll follow up with John and the team.
Any more questions, folks?
Commissioner Esposito, it's not a question about this, but since it looks like we're moving forward, I just wanted to note that at least for me on my board docs, for these compliance reports, IKEA is actually, the attachment is actually just IKEB. So that one appears twice. I didn't see the actual promotion and retention compliance document. So I wanted to just check if it was only my board docs. I just saw IKEB twice. It's the same document listed under the next two items.
That is a good flag, Commissioner Redding-Lollinger. We'll take a look at getting that up.
Okay, it looks like John may have just dropped off, but my proposal would be maybe we push back IKEA to the next meeting so we all have a chance to review it. I don't know if it's a very thorough report, or we could review it now if everyone can have it sent. I don't know if I'm the only one who had that issue, but I don't see IKEA actually attached to the board docs. I just see IKEB twice.
Yeah, that's what I see on my end, and I recommend moving it to the next meeting because I'll definitely need time.
Me too.
Thanks for catching that too. Oh, as far as oh, sorry, go ahead.
No,
Oh,
that's
sorry.
good.
On the report we were discussing, do we know which schools this is rolling? Because so this is going to be the, from my understanding, like there's going to be equipment that's implemented at middle schools, and this would allow that.
I think the change was to 612 schools. So expanding, enabling it
Right.
for middle school students at 612 schools. Was that your question? Sorry, I didn't understand.
Yeah, maybe I'll put it in writing. Yeah, because I'm
Oh.
not.
Sorry, everyone. My laptop died. Did I miss a question?
I think Commissioner Esposito had a question, and I think, John, we were just saying that maybe we'll push back the IKEA to the next meeting because commissioners won't have had a chance to review it.
Okay.
And I'll send my question in writing.
Okay, thank you.
Quick point of clarification along that, right? Is that all 6th through 12th grade schools would have one, or that they would be eligible to have one?
So thank you for that question, Commissioner Ames. It's for the schools that currently the schools currently serving students in grades 6 through 12 that have the systems in there already. Wanted to allow the school leaders there the ability to be able to pass their middle school students through those devices.
So we're not procuring any additional systems.
Not to. Oh. So.
It would be hard to say right now because that would be an increased number of students. So you have some schools that may use different entrances for their 6 through 8 students versus their high school students. So it just depends on the number of students and the configuration of the building.
And so, I have a follow-up question because that is what I was getting to. So I know before we implemented a lot of these systems, we gave an opportunity for high school students and families that would be utilizing the devices an opportunity to give feedback. Is there the same push for middle school students who would now be have to go through these systems that may not have gotten engagement the first time?
That is an idea that we could certainly talk about, and the school's office and operations team could certainly discuss that and look into it.
Yeah, we can definitely provide those opportunities if we do move forward with that. We want to make sure that we're open and we give and get feedback from as many of our stakeholders as possible when we're implementing something like weapons and sections, especially in different grade bands. So that definitely could be done if that is how we move forward.
And a follow-up question that I have that it can be provided later, but like when that feedback's received, like could that be shared with us? And also, I guess I'm just curious about like what the notification would look like to families that would be adapting to this change and the students, just so that they know that starting such and such date, like you will, rather than going through this entrance, like your route's going to change, and yeah, just the change overall, like how it'll be communicated, because I know the communication also varies like depending on the school. So like centrally with this change, because it is a district-wide change, how that's going to be communicated to everyone that's going to see the change.
So I could provide you a brief update on how we did it for high schools, and if it did go to the 6 through 12, I'm sure it would mirror the same thing as far as communication. So we did have multiple communication efforts where we had different sessions, virtual. We went out to some of our student groups, SGA, PCAP, some of the PTA at some of the schools to give them an idea of what was coming and an overview of the system. And then just as far as communication, once we did get approved and move forward with it, we updated the school leaders. And then once they were updated, we had sessions with students and staff about the system and just to understand their concerns. So we went through all 28 of the high schools to get feedback from the multiple stakeholders, students and staff. And then once we started our rollout, we did the communication centrally that we sent to all school leaders, and we asked to forward it to their school communities and families, letting them know what was coming. And for the most part, that was the process that we followed for every school.
And do you all have the capability to send it to every parent in every school that will be adapting to this change directly? Because I know that we all log into the same system to like enroll. So I wonder if it would be more timely for it to be a notification that goes out to every single family that has a child enrolled at the schools that fit this group of students.
I think that is something we could look into, but I know many of us in operations don't have access to the school information to be able to send it out to families.
We do in the school's office though, so we would be able to partner together to be able to do that. Shanae.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that would be great. Just so it's not like a shock, but also I know in the past, like certain schools have had challenges with it creating just logistical things that weren't anticipated. So I think that would be helpful.
That feedback would be awesome, just so that we can have a better understanding of what you're talking about also. As far as logistical setbacks that some schools had.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? Guess that's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we have IKEB graduation compliance report review. Do we have any questions or comments?
Were we going to do them both together, or did we want to do them separately for the one that was closed?
Well, I think we have IKEB, but I'll defer to y'all. Like, would you rather move both compliance reports together to the next meeting?
I mean, I'm flexible. The graduation report was pretty straightforward. I didn't really have any questions on that. It was good to see the data and the trend over time, and especially in comparison to Maryland, but I don't really have any questions. I guess I had one potential amendment to that compliance report. I see it lists the top 7 schools by 4-year and 5-year rate, and I was curious if we could also get the lowest 7 schools to understand the other side of the equation and see where we are in need of improvement to increase the graduation rate. So I guess I don't know if that would be an amendment to the components of the compliance report or what's required if we're able to do that in committee, or if that requires some other action.
And let me build upon that. I think the subgroup call outs around our multilingual learners, it may be helpful for the board as a whole to extrapolate the data that's in this particular report in our end of year data that comes to the board, because I think it's more important to ensure that not just in the compliance report, but that the entire board makes sense of that, as well as our community.
And Chief, so then I see you came on.
Yeah, I just wanted to, with the request, I think Commissioner Redding-Loninger, let us look at what's doable and see how we can move forward in terms of additional data.
Sounds good. I mean, honestly, even now that I think about it, even just all of our high schools and their graduation rates, seems like it's data we probably already have. It might be easy enough just to include a list similar to the list that you have there of subgroup data, just to have all the high schools by 4 and 5 year cohort graduation rate, if that's possible.
We will look into that with the Office of Achievement and Accountability and the academic.
Thanks.
Any other questions, comments? Commissioner Haynes Messenger, you good? Okay, that looks like everything on our agenda. Do we have any public comment?
We do not.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Okay, so our next meeting is going to be on June 17th. It's going to be a virtual meeting at 4, and we will be looking at JIFC, Safe Schools Act of 2010, destructive or illegal behavior, illegal group behavior, framing conversation. And then as far as administrative regulations, we have DJA-RA, procurement, changes to the regulation to address state law SB 170, bid advertisement threshold. We will also have compliance reports for KDD media relations. And so if you'd like to add comment to any of these policies that we'll be looking at, members of the public can provide comment to the committee by signing up the day of the meeting until we start the meeting at 4. We have space for 5 individuals to provide public comment to the policies that we're discussing, and the speakers will get 3 minutes each. And all public comments should address the issues that we're discussing. And so if individuals or groups are interested in providing public comment, they can reach out to publiccomment@bcps.k12.md.us or call the board office at 443-642-4095 or visit the board office at room 406 at 200 East North Avenue. And of course, we always have a form on our website that allows you to submit public comment at any time, or feedback on policies that we're discussing at any time. So do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion. Rooks.
Oh, hi, Commissioner Rooks. I'll take Commissioner Rooks. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Haynes Messenger. Thank you all, and see you June 17th.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good night.